Have you ever thought, well, this isn't exactly what I said I wanted, but I don't want to lose my chance? This could be a job or a potential fiance or house we want to buy. Or maybe we just need to cool it with spending, but wow, that outfit or car or jewelry is so nice. Maybe there won't be another one later that I like as much. We don't want to wait. When something is right in front of us, it is so tempting. But sometimes we should. We are tougher than we think, and waiting can save us much trouble. There's a way we can calm our minds and make great choices, wise choices. In medical school, one of my mentors told me I was good at making solid choices. I don't have a perfect record, but I really liked that comment, and I've heard it before. I want you to be saying that about yourself. I'm going to talk about ideas today that help you make that happen. We all need constant reminders to use our minds well. We live in an instant world where many things are available right away. Instant communications via text, email, or social media. Same day or next day deliveries from Amazon. Fast food or Zoom meetings online. Even coffee is fast in a Keurig. The fast list goes on and on. In our desire to get it done, there are many choices that are best made more slowly. I want to encourage you to slow down and be honest with yourself when making important decisions. If we want to be smart, we have to think and act smart, even when it isn't easy in the moment. It's well worth the self-discipline. Proverbs 19:20 says, "Listen to advice and accept discipline, and in the end, you'll be counted among the wise." In other words, be teachable and accept answers we don't love in the moment. If we do what we know deep down is probably right or is right, we will be acting wisely. Wisdom helps us avoid the long-term pain of poor decisions. Sometimes, if we take time to evaluate, great advice can come from ourselves. Like what sage advice would we give a friend in the same circumstance? Other times, we need to talk to people we respect, and always we can choose to ask God to guide our choices. Waiting on the best is a discipline for sure. I'll give you some examples in a bit of how well that can work out. Choosing to be wise will never hurt us, but being impatient and thinking short term often does. I love this Psalm's instruction because it is written to help us end up in a good place. The big picture is the most important one, so let's relax and think with our empowered minds. An empowered mind thinks beyond the moment. An empowered mind lets the light of truth come in. Contentment is also something to consider. Sometimes what we already have is really enough. In other words, sometimes we already have the best for our current situation. A truly wise person will choose to stay in a job that suits her, even if another with more money is offered. All the parts of a decision must be weighed, not just the shiny pieces like money. We don't want to fall into the trap of discontentment, feeling that we always need something more. If our focus is on lack, we will find it. If our focus is on gratitude, we will find that. Weighing out the whole of a situation takes wisdom. God will help us with guidance if we look for His direction. Many times, if we slow down to carefully assess a situation and assign our own value to the pieces, that can answer a lot of questions, and the answer can become obvious. Let's say there's an opportunity to move to a new state and start a new job. Let's make a pros list and a cons list on paper, though I like to float them in the air right now. A friend can sometimes help us because they can see things that we don't see on our own lists. If you got somebody who can help you, it's a good idea. So on the pros list, we're going to put everything we can think of that makes doing the whatever a good idea. And on the cons list, we'll do the opposite and find all the drawbacks that there might be. We want to be sure to include things that affect other people in our home, like, our children and their schools and all of that. After the list is complete, assign a value that you place on each item. I've done this with myself and countless times with others. It can be very clarifying. I remember learning one time and seeing how much I truly loved where I lived. I wasn't aware of how much I valued where I was until I did this. This practice is clarifying. Try it. Total your scores and you'll see where you fall out. Hopefully it won't be 50-50. I can't believe how much is offered to me every single day to buy, do, or think about. We are bombarded in a way that tells us not to wait. I mean, do you ever see an ad that says, your carpets may not need to be cleaned now, but think of us later? No, it's more like limited time sale. So we have to become pros at turning out the unneeded input. That's a whole other video, but now let's just be alert to the temptation for more and more and more, and that it's urgent. There is so much that is uncontrollable in our lives, so why don't we do the best we can when we do have a choice? In my experience, most of us have some idea about whether or not we should do something or make a certain decision. I've learned that if a small voice in my mind whispers to me that maybe I shouldn't send that text or that perhaps getting a new car isn't a good choice, I should listen. So should you. We love to silence that voice because often it isn't gratifying to listen to it in the moment. But as we get older and hopefully wiser, we learn things. That voice is trying to alert us to something we already know. Those thoughts are trying to protect us from making a mistake. It's a good voice. Fear can also push us into poor decisions. The fear of missing out or the lack of faith in good things presenting to us in the future can persuade us to panic, do something we know we probably shouldn't, like going out with the gang at work when we need to get home. I can almost hear people thinking, yeah, I married too quickly, or I married the wrong person because I didn't listen to the little voice, my inner wisdom. My son asked me once, why is the Bible so full of prohibitions, like about drinking too much, or having sex outside of marriage, or wanting many material things? He wondered why everything that is fun, that's what he called it, was warned against. I told him that these were protections that were offered. If we all followed the morals taught in this world's greatest selling book, we would live in a different and much better world. Think about what it would be like if there were no unwanted teen pregnancies. Obviously, a baby changes a life, or many lives, for good. What if no one were killed by a drunk driver? The reason I talk about the Bible is because it's a great source of wisdom, wisdom that we all need, a life manual. Sometimes we really don't know what we should do. We all need help figuring things out. There is an ultimate truth because many varying ideas can't all be right. For instance, We can't both be reincarnated and also just live one life. We like to tell ourselves stories about what we want to be the truth, but these reasonings don't constitute reality. If you don't embrace Christianity, at least consider reading Proverbs. I don't think many people, even from other faiths, would argue with the wisdom there. We all need guidance. We've all been taught by others, and it's never time to stop learning or considering new thoughts. It is wonderful to be teachable, and if we aren't, we end up being stagnant, trapped within the limits of our own experience and thought process. That's not for me. I want and need more wisdom, and can assure you that this desire and willingness to be challenged serves me well. A red warning flag should go up in our minds when we hear ourselves rationalizing about whatever it is that we want. We can do better than that. The warning is about protection from long-term consequences. A few years ago, we wanted to buy a certain house. After our offer was accepted, we stood out front of the house and prayed. The prayer was that if that house was not the best house for us, that the sale would be blocked. Though the owner had already accepted our offer, we had to have our current residence sold in 30 days. Shortly after that, we were informed that because of an ongoing arbitration at our then current property, no loans could be made to prospective buyers. That was bad news because then we needed a cash buyer, and that didn't happen. It was disappointing because we had a buyer that needed a loan. A year later, a larger model of the same house became available. It was overpriced, and we waited. After 9 months, the price had been dropped twice. Long story short, we got that house and have been very grateful for its extra room. Interest rates were at an all-time low when we bought it, and that made us able to afford this bigger home. I believe the prayer we said was a good one, actually, a great one. When we know that everything isn't up to us, a heavy load gets lifted from our shoulders. We can be peaceful when things don't appear to be working out. Years ago, I sold a house in the Midwest to someone who had already wanted another house. She didn't get it. Instead, she was getting ours. I told her, "Oh, I hope she liked our house pretty well." She exclaimed, "Oh, I love this house so much more." This is what I'm talking about. She too had prayed about finding a house. We don't see around the next corner, but if we can trust for good and embrace the spiritual love and care that is available to us, waiting is okay. I asked a client who was very disillusioned with a man if she had ever seen relationship warning signs early on. She laughed sadly and said, "Yes, very early on." Because she wanted to believe in the person, she ignored the clear breaches in trust. Because she wanted everything to be okay, she told herself that forgiveness was the answer. It's good to believe in the goodness of people, but to do so to the point of ignoring our gut or clear breaches in trust will surely get us in trouble and probably very hurt. Forgiveness is always good because it frees us, but that doesn't mean we ignore reality. We need to listen to everything we know, not just what we want to know. I'm going to repeat that. We need to listen to everything we know and not just what we want to know. The long-term, big picture result trumps short-term comfort every time. We will pay a lot in self-confidence and in our hearts if we ignore wisdom. It is better to be alone than to be torn up in a hurtful relationship. Not only is it extremely painful, but a misguided choice can affect our future ability to choose well. We lose our confidence in ourselves. Lots of work might be needed to undo the damage caused by ignoring truth. In my video, Traits of Love, I talk about characteristics of truly loving relationships. If you like, check it out. There are always new beginnings, but it's better to avoid unnecessary pain than recover from it. As mere humans, we sometimes insist on learning the hard way, but we don't have to. If we will listen to wisdom and tolerate a bit of waiting, we will be more peaceful. Peace is better than a car we can't afford or a relationship that hurts us. Material things come and go, people in our lives and leave our lives. Many opportunities come and go. It's all okay. When you have a tough decision to make, seek out wisdom and remember that remaining teachable is always good. Spare yourself from missing a better outcome that you could have had if only you'd been patient. It's up to us. Careful thought, humility, and courage to look at all the facts will serve us well. After hearing this video, someone may come to mind. Please pass this forward to anyone you know who might need it. That is love on your part and lets others know that you care. Thank you for watching or listening. You are precious.